Hello. So, with this war going on in Israel, it's really hard to keep up with all the information that's going on. But I wanted to share with you a gentleman that I found he does fairly short videos. His name is David Tall. He is a Jewish, born again Jewish believer. He's also a former major, a tank commander for the Israeli Defense Force. I think he says he's a current major because in Israel, once you serve in the military, you're always kind of in the reserves. And we talk a lot in the Christian community about standing with Israel. His channel, the Balagan Connection. And I looked up because I was like, what a weird name for a channel. Balagan is a Hebrew term. I think it's actually derived from Russian. It just means chaos. So he lives in Israel. He's also his 9 to 5 job. I guess before all this started was he's a tour guide in Israel. So you may have gone to Israel and he could have been one of the guys that was your tour guide. So I wanted to just share this video of his. I'm going to link in the description and at the end of the video the link to his channel. Please consider subscribing and liking these videos so that it gets more visibility. I think he does a good job of telling us in a concise way what's going on in Israel without a lot of hyperbole. So let's uh, let's take a look at this, and I'm going to shut up and let his video play. So
So this is David Tal. This is a Balagan connection. And a lot of people have been asking me over the last couple of days, how can we should support our show our support for Israel? How can we stand with Israel? And I'm trying to figure out how to put it together. And somebody that was on a tour with me wrote something very interesting. And I'm going to read it for you just so we know what we think we should be doing now. What does standing with Israel mean? It means that you recognize the slaughtering, the beheading, the raping, and the kidnapping of the Israeli people, including infants and old people. You believe that that is a terrible evil. Standing with Israel means you stand firm in the conviction that Hamas is a terrorist organization and that their sole purpose is to destroy Israel. They say it. And to replace Israel with an Islamic state. Their hate for Israel, in turn, fuels their hate for America. Standing with Israel means that you understand that Israel's retaliation against the Hamas's attacks is to defend and preserve the freedom of not just the Jews who live here, but everybody, and especially all of us who live in Israel. Standing with Israel does not mean that you stand for war, and that does not mean that you stand for the death of innocent Palestinian lives as a result of this war. It means that you understand that if Israel stopped defending their land, there would be no more Israel. It also means you realize that Hamas uses their own people as human shields and as pawns to further their evil purposes. And yes, I said evil. Standing with Israel means that you stand against the anti Semitic protests and lying happening across the world. You have to be careful where the truth is. Standing with Israel means that you are also willing to stand for truth. Because if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. If you can't totally stand with Israel, I need to make this clear, then you have chosen to stand with a terrorist. And I need you to understand this, and I need you to tell the other people. We thank you for your support. We thank you for your prayers. It's really, really important for us. It's really important to know that we have you behind us. It started raining just now, so pray for the young men and women who are on the front line in the mud and in the rain, making it that much more complicated. And we just need right now for the Jewish people and the Israelis to know that you stand for Israel. This is David Taub. This is the Balagan Connection. Start thinking about how you can stand for Israel in a more real way. Start thinking about how you can reach out and be a part of this war. And start thinking about praying for the peace of Israel. Thank you.
That's David Tall. So I just wanted to point this out. I'm not going to do every one of his videos, but he has a series that he's been doing the last couple of days. Little three, 4 minute videos. What's true, what's false. So I think it's a good resource. I know, I believe it's Tom Hughes over at Hope for Our Times. He's been mirroring a lot of these videos. He has a much larger subscriber base than I do. But for those of you who watch my channel or may have stumbled across this, I just wanted to give you something so that you could see uh, someone who's actually in Israel, because I don't know if you've ever lived in an area where there's been a disaster or, God forbid, a war. I've lived in areas where there's been hurricanes, and I've had family members call me up, you know, panicked, worried if I'm okay, because when they watch the news media, uh, the weather guys stand in the biggest puddles they can find, and they paint a picture that this is everywhere. So, not saying that things in Israel are being exaggerated, but so far I've watched several of his videos. He didn't post a lot before this war started. I've seen him on some other channels. Uh, James Cadiz, he's one of the Calvary Chapel pastors. I've seen him on Tom Hughes. So I've seen him several places. He seems sincere, um, and he's not doing a lot of speculating. He's just kind of telling on the ground, maybe giving some history lessons. So please consider supporting his channel by subscribing. He also has some links to a website that he runs. I think his brother runs some ministry helping um, guys going into the IDF, because in Israel, every person has to join the military once they reach 18. So I think his brother does some type of ministry associated with that. So just consider checking out David Tall, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Uh, the more subscribers he gets, in fact, let me see here. It looks like he currently has close to 9,000 subscribers. So, um, I'd rather hear news from some guy like this than some of the others who aren't in Israel, who are um, getting really wild into speculation about things. This is a good resource. So I hope this video uh, helps Brother David Tall. Uh, we're praying for the folks in Israel. This is obviously a very trying time in Israel, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on. So, anyway, thank you. And remember Matthew 6:33, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Till next time, have a great day.